Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. A few props that'll be handy today, a strap, and if you don't have a strap, then use a belt or anything that's kind of strap-like. And then a couple hard blocks will likely be handy as well as a soft block. And if there's anything else that you like to have around, then go for it. I'll invite you to get started in a Shavasana-like shape today. So if you feel comfortable lying down on the back, then go for it. Find any comfortable symmetrical shape. And if you'd rather start off in a seated meditation or somewhere else, then go for that instead, and then you can come back and join when you're ready. So if you are starting off on the back, just take a moment to get comfortable. If you need to add any props, maybe something under the knees or under the head. If any part of the body feels a little tight or a little fidgety, maybe a little movement here to help you settle in. And as you feel ready to start to quiet down the body, if it feels okay to close down the eyes. As you feel ready to start to deepen the breath, see if you can find a smooth quality for the breath here. So long, smooth inhales and then long, smooth exhales. And before we transition to the moving part of today's practice, think about what you would benefit from the most today. And if you need something that's more restful, then please modify your practice as needed. Take more breaks when you need to, add more pauses, maybe spend less time in the poses. And if you need something more energizing, maybe more invigorating, you're also welcome to add on and to build on. But keep checking in with the body, with the breath to see where you're at. Only when you feel ready to start to move again, give the head a gentle rock side to side. And wiggle the fingers and wiggle the toes. A little movement for the wrists and for the ankles. Awesome. When you're ready, we'll bend the knees and walk the feet in a little bit closer. The feet roughly underneath the knees, and take the feet about as wide as the mat. Lower the knees down towards the right hand side for a half twist here. And if this feels like plenty, you can stay. You can also prop either knee. If you want to add on, you can think about taking the right ankle on top of the left knee and see what that feels like. And then notice, especially through the left side of the body, the side waist. Breathe into whatever you're feeling. If the right foot is lifted, then bring it back down and slowly bring the knees back up to center. And check in here. If you need to adjust anything, go for it. When you're ready, take the knees down towards the left. The side may feel a little different, so you can prop if you need to. If you want to take the left ankle over the right knee, then go for it. Just make sure that especially that right knee stays quiet. And take a few deep breaths here. And releasing this side as well. And bring the knees up to center. And then windshield wiper the knees side to side a couple of times. Back to center when you're ready. You can keep the right foot where it is, but collect the left knee into the chest and give the knee a squeeze towards that left shoulder a little bit. Maybe a little wiggle side to side here, a little rock if you need to. And if it feels good to extend the right leg towards straight, then go for it. Awesome. You can keep the left knee lifted, bring the right knee into the chest, and now we'll switch sides. So you might start off by placing the left foot down first, hugging the right knee a little bit towards the right shoulder. Maybe a little movement here if that feels good. And if you like to extend the left leg, then go for it. Awesome. You can keep the right knee, bring the left knee back in, and release the right leg. This time, half happy baby, reach the left arm to the inside of the left leg, and you can catch hold of the ankle here, maybe the foot. And again, right leg can stay bent or extended. And then see what it feels like to add the weight of the arm, maybe drawing the left knee a little closer to the floor. Option for a slight rock here as well. So then you can keep the left leg as it is, bring the right knee to the chest, and we'll switch sides. So now reach the right arm to the inside, and catch hold of the foot or the ankle, maybe foot towards the ceiling, maybe left leg extends. Stillness or a little rock. Awesome. Left knee returns to the chest, release the right foot down, and look around and find your strap, and we'll loop the left foot with the strap. So loop wherever feels comfortable, maybe somewhere near the ball of the foot, one end of the strap in each hand, and give yourself enough slack that you can feel the shoulders stay kind of resting on the floor. And then you can always bend the right knee here if this feels too intense. We'll pulse with the breath a few times. So as you inhale, point the toes up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, flex the foot, toes towards the shin. And then move with your breath at your pace a few rounds here. Last couple rounds of breath. Awesome. Back to center. And slowly release the left leg long down the mat. And pause here for a moment. You might notice the two legs and just see what the differences feel like. The left leg might feel a little longer, or maybe something else in your body. Bring the right knee up when you're ready, and then we'll loop the right foot. Again, find a place that feels comfortable for the straps. Make sure you have enough slack that both shoulders stay on the floor. And then pulsing with the breath, point the toes towards the ceiling, deep inhale, and then flex the foot with your exhale. And keep going with your breath. Last couple. And gently release the right leg long down the mat. And you can move your strap to one side. Pause here. And check in with the body. Take that scan. And then only when you feel ready to move, roll off to one side. And pause here for a couple of breaths, maybe resting the head on the right arm. And then when you're ready with the support of the hands coming up, and we'll find a tabletop position, hands and knees. Hands roughly underneath the shoulders, knees roughly underneath the hips. And from here, as you inhale, send the right hip out towards the right. As you exhale, send the hips towards the heels. Inhale, hips over to the left as the shoulders come forward over the wrists. And exhale, hips to the right and circle back. And then keep going here with your breath, your pace. And as your body gets used to the movement, if you like to extend the range of motion, then go for it. Or if you like to exaggerate the movement anywhere in the body, and let the spine get into it, the head, neck, shoulders. And the next time you inhale and come forward, take a brief pause, and with a subsequent exhale, change directions. Notice the side may feel different, and you can pause if you find a sticky spot you want to breathe into. You can keep the movement relatively small or start to exaggerate it. Move any way you need. And slowly let the circles get a little bit smaller. And eventually returning to your tabletop. And then send the hips towards the heels, the forehead towards the floor. And setting for child's pose. And option for an arm variation here, walk the hands back so that they're roughly in line with the knees. Elbows are bent by the rib cage. And you can stay like this, or you can flip to the back of the hands. And pressing the backs of the hands gently into the floor, you might find a nice stretch for the wrist here, and let the elbows be really heavy. Awesome. When you feel ready, walk the hands back towards the front, and then plant the hands, come up, tabletop position. And from here, step one foot to the back of the mat and then the other for your plank pose. Really press the hands into the floor, find the stability of the shoulders, and then make the legs really active as well. Really press the feet into the floor. Now take a deep inhale here, lengthen, and then press the hips back for downward facing dog. Inhale, ripple forward to plank, and exhale back to your down dog. A couple more like that. Inhale, and exhale. The next time you inhale, come forward to plank. Your next exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes and inhale breath, cobra pose, lift the heart. Exhale, soften down. And twice more. And then inhale up to tabletop. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift the left leg up behind you as you inhale, and then step the left foot forward between the hands. You can keep the right knee lifted, or you can lower it if you want more support. I'm going to take the left foot out to the left a little to widen the base, and when you're ready, you come on up. We'll find a high crescent lunge. So take a moment to find your balance first. You might find a gaze point to keep you steady, and again, you can adjust your base to find something more stable whenever you need. And from here, inhaling to reach the arms up towards the ceiling, and then settle the shoulders. And notice what's happening in the low back. If it feels like a deep back bend, you might benefit from hugging the low belly in, or maybe imagine drawing the pubic bone towards the belly button. Arms can stay up the way they are. If you like, you can bring the palms together or bend the elbows, maybe thumbs towards the back of the head. And keep breathing that space across the chest, across the shoulders. Awesome. The next time you inhale, re-extend the arms. And as you exhale, bring the fingertips to the floor and lower the back knee down. Now kickstand the right foot over to the left. And then as you're ready, you can cartwheel the arms up and come up. Think almost like a kneeling warrior two. Maybe left foot a little bit further towards center. Now left elbow to the left thigh. With an inhale, reach the right arm out and open. And as you exhale, you might start to reach that right arm towards the front of the room, maybe palm facing down to keep space for the shoulders. And then notice that space from the right knee all the way up to the right elbow. Breathe length there. All right, strong belly, inhale breath, come on up, arms to a T, and then bring the fingertips to the floor and kickstand the back foot and step forward to a forward fold.
Maybe a generous bend to the knees. Maybe you want to pedal the legs a little bit here. And see if you're happy with the distance between your 2 feet. You could bring them closer or further apart, depending on what feels better in your body. And then only when you feel ready to move again, take your inhale breath, find a halfway lift. As you exhale, plant the palms to the floor and step back to plank pose. And take a moment here, lengthen the body, puff up the chest, and stay. Now take a deep inhale, lengthen, and then hips back, downward facing dog. And pulse forward with your inhale, and pulse back with your exhale. A few more rounds. The next time you inhale forward to plank, pause and then lower all the way down to the belly. The 3 rounds of cobra. And then tabletop as you inhale, and downward facing dog as you exhale. Now lift the right leg up, deep inhale, and step the right foot forward between the hands. And then take a moment, find your balance, set your base. When you're ready, you can come on up, high crescent lunge. And check in here, adjust whatever you need to. Stance, find your balance. Inhale, breath, reach the arms high. And then you can stay, you can bring the palms, you can bend the elbows, find your expression. Legs stay strong, chest stays proud. Keep breathing. And the next time you inhale, re-extend the arms. Exhale, fingertips to the floor, lower the back knee. And kicks down the left foot over to the right. And the next time you inhale, come on up. And then check in here, maybe walk that right foot a little bit to center, your version of the shape. Hips open towards the side, arms can reach here. And then lower right elbow to the right thigh. With a deep inhale, reach up. With your exhale, maybe reach the left arm towards the front of the room. And breathe into that whole left side of the body. And keep building that awareness here. Notice what the right shoulder is doing. If you notice that it starts to shrug up towards the right ear, see if you can find a little more length there for the neck. All right. The next time you inhale, come on up, arms to a T, and then exhale, fingertips down, and we'll step forward to a forward fold. Any expression of a forward fold here, any expression you like to take with the arms, go for it. Stillness or movement, and take whatever you need for the next 5 or 6 breaths. And releasing the arms. If you have a bind, inhale breath, find a halfway lift. And then sigh it out, exhale. And twice more. <sighs> Last one. Inhale, halfway lift, and pause here with the exhale. And then strong belly, flat back, come all the way up, reach the arms up. If you're a little lightheaded, keep the arms lifted, shoulders can be soft. And then whenever you're ready, release your arms down to your sides and come and find your mountain pose. And check in here if you need to adjust anything for your feet. Notice the pelvis, notice the core, the spine, the shoulders, the arms. And when you feel ready to move on from here, you can flutter open the eyes. I'm going to turn lengthwise on my mat, so you might turn facing the right or whichever side you have more room for. And then from here, I would set your props up first before we go any further. A couple hard blocks here, and then you can take your strap maybe towards the top of the mat or the left-hand side of the mat as you're looking forward. And then set up your stance here. We're going to set up a goddess squat. So find a distance between your feet that feels good for the pelvis. And then you might turn the toes out a little bit and then start to bend your knees and see how it goes. You can take it slow. I like to rock a little side to side just to make sure knees, ankles, hips are all feeling happy with the shape. When you're ready, you can start to find your stillness, find your balance. And then notice the feet here. Notice where the weight is. Is it more through the heel or through the ball of the foot? Can you balance that out a little bit? If you need a little more support for the upper body, you could also have the hands to the thighs somewhere. If you want more challenge, then think about finding a T shape with the arms, but then flip the palms to face towards the ceiling and see what that feels like in the chest and in the shoulders. And lastly, if you want to close down your eyes, then go for it. And we'll be here for a few deep breaths. Using your breath as a guide. If at any point you need to give yourself a break, feel free to extend the legs up. If you want more challenge, always the option to bend a little deeper as well. Awesome. Last couple of breaths. The next time you inhale, extend the arms up, extend the legs, and then pause just for a moment, soften the shoulders. Now parallel the feet, take a deep inhale, and then hinge forward, forward fold. And take just a couple of breaths here, and find a little movement for the hips, a little movement for the upper body. Let the head be really heavy. Awesome. And from here, coming to a halfway lift shape, your blocks are nearby if you need them. Keep the right toes pointing forward, but switch the left foot to point now towards the front of the room. And you can use your block. Start to walk yourself towards that left foot. And then set up the left hand, maybe somewhere near the heel, and you can use any height setting for the prop wherever you are. And then option, because I'm going to offer a bind, is to take the strap to the right hand. From here, we're setting for triangle, so reach the right arm up towards the ceiling and press the pelvis a little towards the right as well. Let's see where you end up. We came into triangle a little differently here, so if you do need to lengthen or shorten the stance or adjust something else, then go for it. And gaze can be down, to the side, or up. See what feels good for the neck. And then one option is stay here, or I'm going to talk through a bind for triangle. So with a strap in your right hand, you can start with a half bind by lowering the arm and bending the elbow. Maybe the right hand is now towards the left hip. If you have that strap, you can let the other end dangle down. Now from here, sometimes bending the knee a little bit, almost like an extended side angle, can make it easier to reach for the other end of the strap. But once you find it, re-extend that leg. You can give yourself more slack here or less, but make sure that the spine can stay long and the chest can stay open. Lastly, make sure you're breathing, the feet really pressing to the floor, anchoring you in space. If at any point this is too intense, you can always release the bottom arm back down, stay with a half bind. Otherwise, a couple more deep breaths here. Awesome. If you have the bind, release it, left hand to prop, maybe right hand to the floor, and then turn your chest down towards the floor, bend into that left knee, and we'll lower the back knee to the floor. Now heel toe the left foot a little to the left edge of the mat like you would for a lizard lunge, so left toes can point forward or out to the side a little bit, and just give the hips some movement here and check in to see how they feel. Awesome. We're going to transition to a lizard lunge now with the option to balance and bind. So if you want to have your strap nearby for this, go for it. We'll start off and we'll do it in stages. So to begin with, hands are down to the floor or to your blocks, depending on where you're at, and the back knee can lift up. Now take the left hand and walk it off to the left side of the left foot and see if you can get that shoulder as close to the knee as you can. And then maybe take the right hand a little wider too to help with balance. You can stay exactly here and work with the breath. You can always lower that back knee. Option for the half bind now to reach the left hand towards the left hip. And then option for the full bind, if everything feels okay to release the right fingertips as well, you can reach those back. Your strap might be handy, or if your hands can meet, then great. And for this variation, we want the chest pointing towards the floor. You can always lift the hips a little higher if that takes pressure out of the low back, but keep breathing here, keep the legs strong, and soften the facial expressions if they're super tense. All right, if you're in the bind, release it, and then you can do fingertips or blocks. We're going to walk back towards the right foot now, so you can spin the right heel to the floor, and then start to walk your hands over towards the right. We're going to turn the right toes out slightly, start to bend that knee, and keep the left leg extended. If you find you're in too long a stance, you can shorten it. And then for some people, that right heel needs to lift up. For others, it will stay down. There's not like really a right expression. See if an upright spine works better for you. See if you want to play with balance. Maybe staying low is what feels best for today. And take about 5 breaths here. Awesome. And walking the hands back towards center, lift the hips up. We'll set up for a wide-legged forward fold once again. So you can take the feet a little wider here. You can choose where you want the toes to point, forward, slightly out, or in. And let the spine get really heavy. Let the head be heavy. And check in and see if you're happy where you're at. You're welcome to stay. If you'd like to add a side stretch, then come to a halfway lift position and then start to walk your hands over towards that left foot. And you can keep yourself upright here in the halfway lift. If you like, you can explore folding towards that left leg. If you're over to the left, halfway lift, and then walk back to center, then walk over towards the right. And again, you can stay in the lift or you can fold towards the right leg now. Halfway lift. As you're ready, you walk the hands back to center. Before we move on, you can set your strap now towards the other side of the mat. And tone the belly, and with an inhale breath, flat back, circle the arms, come all the way up. And then release the arms down to your sides. The heels in, toes out, and bend the knees, find your goddess stance. And second round here, if you need a slightly different expression, then go for it. If it feels okay to reach the arms wide, palms up, go for that. If you want to close down the eyes, or anything else. Find your version of the shape and breathe into it. Last few deep breaths. Always the option to take a break. All right, the next time you inhale, extend the arms, extend the legs. Pause here, enjoy the release. And then parallel the feet. Deep inhale, reach tall. And hinge forward, forward fold. Just a couple deep breaths in the forward fold. Any expression you like with the arms. Stillness, any gentle rocking or movement. Awesome. When you're ready, come to that halfway lift, maybe hands to your props. And keep the left toes pointing out in front, right toes now spin towards the back. And then when you're ready, start to walk your hands over towards the right. Set the right hand up on the inside of the right foot, maybe strap to your left hand if you're going to set up the bind. With an inhale breath, ground down through the right, reach the left arm high, maybe hips over to the left a little bit as well. And then check in here as much distance as you can, shoulder to shoulder, space for chest, for back, and space for the length of the whole spine. You can stay here, bend that top elbow, let the strap dangle between the legs, half bind, or maybe a slight bend to the front knee so that you can reach, catch the other end of the strap. If you have the bind, re-extend that right leg. You can add more slack or less, but keep the chest proud. Make sure that you have length across the collarbones, length for the neck. Breathe here. Awesome. If you have the bind, release it. Right hand finds the block, strap maybe to the floor, and then turn the chest down, lift the back knee, and then lower it down. And set yourself for lizard lunge, so maybe right foot to the right a few inches, toes forward or to the side. And give the hips just a little movement. Awesome. And then see, you're welcome to stay with your lizard, or if you're coming with me for the bind, then either hands or blocks under the shoulders and lift the back knee up. And then walk the right hand over to the right, nuzzling the shoulder under the knee as best you can. And then left hand a little wider as well. Now really ground down through the feet, that's keeping you steady. Option for the half bind, reaching the right hand towards the right hip. Option for the full bind, de-weighting the left hand maybe towards the right. And then chest is towards the floor. Feet are keeping you steady. Keep breathing. If you have the bind, release it. Find your blocks if you're using them. And then slowly spin the left heel to the floor and start to walk your hands over towards the left. Extending the right leg as you go, bending the left knee. And then see, this side may end up needing something a little different, so adjust yourself as needed. The option to stay folded, to come upright, maybe to challenge the balance, mirror whatever you did on the first side. Awesome. Hands come down, hips come up. And walk yourself to the middle for your wide-legged forward fold. And bringing the hands under the shoulders, find a halfway lift. And then sigh, fold back in. Twice more. Last one. Now inhale, halfway lift. And then heel toe the feet about halfway towards each other. Point the toes out slightly, bend the knees, and we'll find a squat. And find your version of the shape. If you like to make yourself a seat to sit on, or if you want to support the heels, go for it. Hands can stay down, maybe hands to prayer. If the knees or if the elbows are pressing the knees apart, then lock the knees back into the elbows, create a sense of stability. Grow the spine tall, maybe close down the eyes. Awesome. And then lower one hand and the other one behind you. Lower the bum down to the floor and give the knees a little windshield wiper side to side. And we'll set up here a wide-legged stance. So if you have a soft block, then you might choose to sit up off of it. And I'm going to keep the strap nearby as well. Now set your feet up as wide apart as you like. So whatever the shape looks for you, then go for it. Awesome. And we're going to play with a fold and a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a side stretch. So if combining these things doesn't work for you, then stick with something a little more straightforward. Maybe you're taking it to like a side stretch and you're welcome to stretch over here like this. Maybe you want to take it to a fold and not combine the two, so you're welcome to do those. If you are coming with me, then you can use your strap and we'll loop it up to the right foot to begin with. And again, find a place that feels stable, so maybe it's near the ball of the foot. Great. And then collect the strap into that right hand. And we're going to side bend over to the right, but first turn your chest a little bit, almost like to the direction of the left leg, so you can line up the right side of the body to that right leg. And now from here, take an inhale, reach the left arm high. As you exhale, start to side bend towards the right leg, and then see where you end up. So one option is if you have space, maybe that right elbow finds the floor, and this might kind of kickstand the strap for you. If the floor is far away, you can use a prop as well. So see how this feels, and if this feels like plenty of a stretch, then great. If you want to explore something a little bit deeper, you can take the strap into the left hand, and then from here, give yourself enough slack that you can open the chest up and then stack that left shoulder maybe on top of the right. And then if you have space, you could even walk your hand a little bit closer to that foot and then see where you end up. You're likely feeling a pretty deep sensation through the outer left side, and keep breathing into it. All right, you can switch the strap back to the right hand if it's in the left. Inhale, breath, make your way up. And then pause for a moment. Maybe give the spine a little wriggle. If you like to explore some gentle twist side to side, go for that. Or maybe you just want to pause with the spine in neutral. And take a few breaths wherever you need. Awesome. We'll set up for the second side. Yeah, so if you're coming with me, loop the left foot with your strap and both ends into the left hand. You can have a block nearby if you need. And turn the chest over towards the right a little bit, lining up the left side with the left leg. Inhale, breath, reach the right arm high, and then start to side stretch over towards the left leg, any amount. And again, take it slow. This side may need something different. It might feel different. And if you do feel ready to explore something a little bit deeper, then you might think about reaching with that right hand to catch the strap. And then think about opening the chest up towards the side, eventually maybe stacking that right shoulder somewhere on top of the left. You can explore or tiptoeing the hands a little closer to that left foot and keep breathing wherever you are. You can switch the strap back to the left hand. Inhale, breath to come on up. And then pause. Stillness or movement. And take about 5 or 6 breaths wherever you need to be. And when you're ready, you can collect the legs in a little bit closer. And maybe a windshield wiper side to side. Sweet. When you're ready, swing the legs back to the front of the mat. If you had a prop under you, you can remove it. You can move your strap off to the side as well. Plant the feet into the floor, and then scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way so you can connect the sit bones down. I'm setting here for boat pose, so you can stay and work from here, work with the breath. Option to lean back slightly, maybe one foot lifts or both. You can stay here using the hands for support. If you want, you can release them. If you want to explore extending the legs, then go for it. But check in with the spine here. Find that space for the chest, a little softness for the shoulders, length for the neck, and breathe. Awesome. If you want to stay a little longer, go for it. Otherwise, you can lower the feet to the floor, maybe the chest in towards the thighs, and give yourself a gentle rock. Sweet. And from here, you can extend the legs, and then we'll cross the left ankle on top of the right knee, or just above the right knee. If this feels like plenty, then stay here. Otherwise, you might think about bending that right knee, similar to thread the needle that we do from the back sometimes, like over here. Except now you can lean back on the hands and then give the hips a rock side to side. And see if this feels like plenty of sensation through the left hip, then you can stay with it. The other option is to cradle that front leg, and it might be elbows kind of hugging the foot and the knee. Maybe it's elbow and hand, any combination. But if you can support the leg without the right leg, then feel free to extend that long. And then give yourself a little rock side to side. Awesome. And you can stay with this. Option to explore half happy baby, kind of like we did at the start of practice, except now from a seat. So catching hold of the outside of that left hand, and then you can rock a little bit here if you like, or you might imagine that you're drawing circles with that left foot, maybe one direction and then the other. You can make them as large or as small as you want. Awesome. And now support to the foot with the right hand. Reach the left arm underneath as best you can and find your C grip. So C shape with the left hand to catch hold of the ankle. And then think of like a backpack or handbag or something, like you're trying to get it up on your shoulder. And then see what this feels like here. Maybe your hands are to the floor, one or both, or maybe you're still holding the foot, and that's fine. Like how we were setting up the lizard with the bind earlier, see what it feels like to bring that left hand to the floor, and then maybe right hand a little wider too. Really build that connection of the foot to the shoulder, and then squeeze the belly, see what it feels like to lift the right leg up, and then lower it down. We'll do that twice more. All right, and then for the final option is to bring the hands a little closer so that you can really have the palms flat to the floor. And if the floor feels far away, do use a block. I have really long arms, which makes these kinds of balances easier for me, but please use a block if you do not. And then think about pressing the hands and the right heel down, lift the bum up off the floor. Awesome. And then the final one, if you want to play with it, is to try to lift everything off the floor. So either point or flex the foot and then see where you end up. Don't worry about it. Maybe you can lift, maybe you lift and lower a couple times, maybe you can pause and take a few breaths. Be where you need to be and listen to your body. And when you do feel ready, we'll release the left leg long, maybe give the feet a swish side to side, and then we'll pause for a few moments. So if you're still playing around with the shape, keep doing so. Eventually, come to a seated position, an easy pose. Just close down the eyes, take a little pause, let the body readjust. When you do feel ready, we'll set all that up on the second side. So you can start with extending the legs, giving them a little rock, and then bend the right knee, right ankle just above the left. And you can stay with this, or you can bend the knee straight away if you have space, and give the hips a little rock side to side. And if this feels like plenty, then stick with it. Otherwise, the option to cradle the right shin now. And again, it could be elbows or hand and elbow. If you want to release the left leg, then go for it and give yourself that rock side to side. And again, you can stick with this or maybe half happy baby and catching right hand to the outside of the right foot and pointing the foot maybe forward. And think about drawing some circles with that right foot, as large or as small as you like, a few one direction and then the other. And you can stay here or catch the right foot with the left hand, C grip with the right wrist, and reach under and catch the ankle, and then help the knee up on the arm as best you can. And take another rock here. And then notice the tendency might be with the leg especially to kind of turn the chest in deeply. So see if you can keep a little length in the spine, keep that space across the chest. And then maybe you have the option to release the right fingertips to the floor. Left hand can come a little wider too. And really connect knee and shoulder here as best you can. Yeah, knee and shoulder. And then think about lifting the left foot up off the floor. And then bring it down. 2 more. Awesome. Can you bring the hands a little bit closer now? Plant the palms, maybe to the floor to blocks. Lift the bum 3 times. All right, the final one, lift. You can lift and lower a couple times, or maybe lift and hold for a couple of breaths. Just don't hold your breath if you are lifted. All right, you can play around for as long as you like. When you feel ready, come on out and release. And eventually we'll meet in a seat. And from your easy pose, whenever you feel ready, we'll transition onto the back. You can get there any way you like. If you want to visit boat pose on the way, then go for it. And there's no rush. You can come down quickly or slowly. Awesome. And when you do touch down, we'll walk the feet in so that they're roughly underneath the knees. And then you can bring the elbows by the rib cage, maybe fingertips up towards the ceiling. And setting for bridge pose here, so take a moment to press the shoulder girdle down to the floor, press the feet down to the floor, and with an inhale breath, lift the pelvis up any amount. Find your expression of the shape. If you want to bring a couple blocks under the bum for a more supportive version, go for it. If you like to extend the arms or even walk the arms closer together, maybe for a bind, then go for that. If you need a little more room to breathe, chin can lift towards the ceiling, giving your windpipe a little more space. And wherever you are, you can stay for up to 8 breaths. Whenever you feel ready to come out, please do. And there's no rush. If you're still in the pose and still happy there, please stay. When the time comes to come out, you can slowly lower the spine back down. Maybe take the feet a little wider, and you can pause with the knees in together, maybe the hands somewhere on the body. Awesome. If the knees are together, you can separate them. If you have a hard block nearby, you can bring it between the thighs. And then scoot the hips over to the left a few inches. Let the knees lower down towards the right. You can find this or any other twist that you prefer. Arms can be in cactus or T-shape. If you need to add support for the left shoulder or maybe underneath the knees or something else, then go for it. And if you like to take the gaze to the opposite direction of the knees, then go for that. If you're using a prop, you can squeeze it with the legs. Bring the head back to center, bring the legs back to center. And then hips to center, then over to the right a few inches, and then knees can lower down towards the left. And the same arm expression, or maybe slightly different. See if you need any different props or support here. And maybe take the gaze down towards the right or opposite direction of the knees. Bring the head back to center when you're ready. Bring the legs back to center. Releasing your props. And then check in with the body here. If it's asking for any last quiet shape or movement, then go for it. Maybe a happy baby, maybe a different kind of stretch. And when you do feel ready, we'll set up for Shavasana. So you can rest in any symmetrical pose that you like. I'm going to offer butterflies. So if you want to take the soles of the feet together, open the knees nice and wide, and then I'm going to support the legs with props here, just so that those inner leg muscles can really release. So any symmetrical, comfortable, restful pose that you like, and take your time to find it, to get settled into it, to add any support that you need. And take a moment to check in with the body to see if it needs anything else before you find your rest. You can start to let your breath go now, letting it return to its natural inhale and exhale. And let the body start to get heavy as you settle yourself in. And gently deepen the breath to reawaken the body. And if you chose butterfly shape, you can reach down, bring the knees together, and then extend the legs long down the mat. It might feel nice to rock the feet side to side a little bit. If you like to reach the arms up overhead, maybe wiggle the shoulders, the head side to side a little bit as well. And from here, you might collect the knees into the chest and wrap the arms around them. Give yourself a hug and a squeeze. Give your back a gentle rock side to side here. And a gentle rock front to back. And an option to roll off to one side. And maybe pause there for a few breaths before transitioning to a seat. Or if you like, you can start to build up a little momentum and maybe come up to a seat that way. Either way, eventually we'll come to meet in any comfortable seated position, and you can use any of the props you have around for support. Take a moment to settle the hips and to lengthen the spine, to soften the shoulders. You can leave the hands where they've landed or connect the hands at the heart. Maybe bow the chin in towards the chest. And thank you for exploring the body with me today. And thank you for sharing your practice. Namaste. And thank you for joining me for practice today. And if you have any questions, my name is Nicholas, so please reach out and enjoy your week.